Hello, my fellows. This is my channel talking about modern and contemporary Chinese history. Yeah, I'm Libby, and this is my partner, my uncle, but his name is a secret for Chinese, and you guys might know why, okay? All right, we know that every turning moment in history river are mostly related to financial activities. You cannot deny that, okay? Mostly the financial situation is the cause. And today we are going to view the modern and the contemporary Chinese histories. Okay, folks, today we're going to dive into a topic that's got more twists and turns than the stock market on Monday. Am I right, my uncle? Oh, yeah. He says I'm right. Okay. That's Chinese early modern financial history. Now I know what you're thinking. Like, oh, great, another history lesson. But trust me, this one has corruption, war, economic crashes, and even a dude skipping out on the brothel tab. So, back up, okay? Because when we dig back to the start of the 20th century, every country we know that they use gold, silver, and hard cash as money. But for the purity of different metal money from different countries are different. Yeah, there's so many different. So the first topic we must clarify is the exchange rate between gold, silver, and hard cashes between different countries. Okay, let's start with the 1900. International finance was a mess, of course, but one thing was clear: gold was king. The exchange rate, 1 gram of gold to 35 grams of silver. Give or take, okay? Depending on how shady your money exchange was. Now, China had its own system, the Tao, which was about 37.7 grams of silver. Sounds simple, right? But wrong. Every province in China had its own version of a town because, why not make finance as confusing as possible? Meanwhile, let's look at some major currencies and their gold content. Okay, the first one is one German gold mark. It equals to 0.35 grams of gold or 12.25 grams silver. Okay. The second, one Japanese yen. It equals to 0.75 grams of gold or about 27 grams of silver. If silver backed. Okay, the third one is one Russian ruble. Yeah, it equals to 0.78 grams of gold or approximately 30 grams of silver. The fourth is one US dollar. It equals to 1.5 grams of gold or 50 grams of silver. The fifth is one British pound. It equals to 7.33 grams of gold, or a ridiculous number in China, 250 grams of silver. You guys know 250 in China, in Chinese, is a bad word. Yeah, it describes a stupid person. Okay, let's move to the last one. One Chinese silver yuan, it's about 37 grams of silver. In another word, it is if you had 1 British pound in China, you were basically royalty. Like you can walk into a market and says to the owner, like, "Excuse me, I'd like to buy this entire village, please." Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have any British accent, so I don't play the sentence well. Okay, you pretended that I pronounce it as a British accent. Okay. After having a brief understanding of how money works between different countries, let's look at how Chinese famous revolutionists revolute this so-called ancient country. It is actually pretty easy. As is known, without money, no social activities can last long. So let's regard his revolution activities as running a startup. And the first one among all the revolutionists in China is the so-called father of modern China. His name is Sun Yat-sen. Okay. He plays an interesting role in modern and contemporary Chinese history. Is he qualified to be called as father of modern China? We will talk about him in a later episode. But yeah, let me give you a brief hint. If the nation refers to the mass country suffers in direct terror, the answer is yes. But let's back into the beginning point of his political and social activities. Regarding his work as running a startup, the priority is to find money, right? So let's talk about his Series A round funding raising. Okay, let's focus on him as the original startup CEO. In 1917, Germany was getting wrecked in World War One, and they desperately didn't want China to declare war on them. So what did they do? They paid Sun Yat-sen 2 million gold marks to keep China out of the war. Now, Sun didn't just take the money and retire to a beach. No, he used it to fund a private army. He bribed the warlords in 5 provinces in China. They are Guangdong, Guangxi, Yunnan, Guizhou, and Sichuan, and launched China's first northern expedition, aka the Constitutional Protection War. So yeah, before Silicon Valley made Series A funding cool, Sun Yat-sen was out there securing foreign investment for military coups. We know that since the Industrial Revolution, the world are acting as a whole. No history can happen in only 100 and abandon other things related to this at the same time. So let's take another look at China's neighbor, the Russia. Okay, in the same year, 1917, Germany also gave Lenin 26 million gold marks, which was like 13 times as much as Sun Yat-sen got. So he could go back to Russia and overthrow the Shah. Let me repeat that. Germany literally funded the Russian Revolution. Imagine a foreign country paying for regime change and then pretending that they had nothing to do with it. Oh, wait, isn't it literally just history on repeat? Mm-hmm. Okay, we talked a lot about money on gold and silver. And the total money Sun Yat-sen and the Lenin get from the German investors, but we still should have a clear knowledge about the consumption power at that period of time. Okay, because without comparing the consumption power, the number cannot give you detailed information about how much they really are. Okay, let's move on to the consumption power part. When we talk about consumption power, we use wages, prices. So, what was the cost of living back then? Let's break it down. Okay, the wage for the prime minister of the Beiyang government, it is 1,500 silver yuan per month. That's really a lot. And what about the provincial governors? Their wages are at about 800 yuan per month. And the city mayors, it goes down to 500 yuan. And what about the county officials? That's 300 yuan. That's really a lot. Okay, sounds decent, right? But let's compare that to everyday life. Hiring a Japanese maid costs 2 silver yuan per month, and the salary for factory workers are 5 silver yuan per month. And what about buying a normal house in Beijing? It costs just 800 silver yuan. And what about luxurious mansion? Okay, 3,500 yuan will be enough. Yeah, this is one part that Mel will be interested. How much will it cost for a visit to a Japanese geisha? It just cost 2 yuan. Okay, so we can say that the government officers really made a lot. Now here's my favorite one. The founder of the Chinese Communist Party, Chen Duxiu, one of China's greatest intellectuals, once skipped out of a brothel bill worth about 200 yuan. That was more than half the cost of a Beijing house. Imagine a guy today skipping out on a Vegas tab and the club bouncer being like, "Sir, you own us half a mortgage." Is that hilarious? But that's the real history. Okay, now let's take a look at the budget on a nation level. At that period of time, China's budget really sank in price. And speaking of being broke, let's talk about the Chinese government. The first one, the annual tax revenue at that time, the government get is 90 million taels of silver. It is about 1.28 billion yuan. And what about the revenue the Japanese government get at that time? It is 1.2 billion yuan, higher than China's, even though China was way bigger. And then came the Boxer Rebellion. After losing, China had to pay the Boxer indemnity. That's for 50 million taels of silver. That's like 5 years worth of government revenue. Imagine making $50,000 a year, and then someone slaps you with a 250,000 bill and says, "Pay up, buddy." That's what happened to China. And people wonder why the Qing dynasty collapsed. I think this is the reason. Okay, what we got from all the information I gave. I think the first one we should learn that gold was king at any time, okay? But you have had the British pounds at that time. You were basically Jeff Bezos. And the second, Sun Yat-sen and Lenin were startup founders. Only their companies were revolutions. Without money, any other revolution cannot continue. And the third is a brothel built in 1920s China was more expensive than a house down payment. And the fourth is China was basically running on financial films while foreign powers were just cashing. History's financial crises were crazier than anything we see today. Okay, thank you for listening and please subscribe me. Okay. This is a channel special made for spreading Chinese modern and contemporary histories. If you are interested in that, and if you are interested in learning Chinese, subscribe me. Okay. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you ever on a brothel 2,000 silver yuan just to pay the damn bill.